Hello, everyone, and welcome to Speak of the Devil. I'm your host, Damien DeVille, and today we'll be talking to Robbie. Robbie is a person with a special heart for editing videos and playing games with his friends. He says his autism is what makes him special to everyone, and with more than 3,000 subs on his YouTube, he's quickly becoming unstoppable. Or so he says. And speak of the devil, here he is now. Robbie, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for making me come here.
No problem. Thanks for taking the hot seat for the first episode. I know it's hard to be the first one to go sometimes.
Oh yeah, I know. I got a little nervous when I came here.
Oh, no problem. And for everyone listening at home, you weren't here for this, but we had a little bit of technical problems starting out, and Robbie was a real trooper helping me get through that.
Yeah, that's right. Apparently his internet was a little off, but we got it right.
We got it going now. One of the things you had mentioned about wanting to talk about was the fact that you have autism. I was wondering, how does it express for you? I know it's kind of different from person to person.
So how it expresses it for me? Well, it's really tricky to live like a normal human being. Because your brain wants to think another way instead of the way a human can think. And it was troubling for me at first, but I started getting over with it. Like, I'm actually proud that I have autism, and some people should be proud that they have it too.
So you were able to overcome some of the difficulties. How did you manage to do that?
Well, with the help of my tutor at school, he helps me, overcome with it, sometimes. And it's what helps me become proud of myself. Sometimes when I see hard work, I would ask my teacher on if I could go slow instead of fast in a time limit, and the teacher would agree. And sometimes when the work is so difficult, I would want to take a break, so I go to the hallway, and I take a 5 or 10 minute break, and then I come back and finish my work. It's all worth it in the end.
So, living with autism, do you feel like you want to be treated like everyone else, or do you feel like you do need those special accommodations?
Well, I think it's both. Sometimes if I get too stressed, I could just go to the library. I think that's how the teacher cares about me. If I get too they don't want to see me get stressed or anything. Sometimes I might cry a little. I don't want to be embarrassed that way. So I go to the library and help get myself calm down, and take the rest of the class off.
Well, thank you for sharing all of that. Second, you mentioned you wanted to talk about some of the recent ups and downs in your life. Could you please tell me a little bit more about that?
The recent ups and downs came in the early 2010s. I mean, we're almost done with 2010s, right?
Yeah, the 2020s are coming right around the corner.
Yeah, it's not near, but it's around the corner sometime. Anyway, so in 2012, I went to one of the worst schools I ever went to. I'm not gonna title it because of personal reasons. In 2014, 2013. One day in 2014, I was in recess and in my middle school, and when I was trying to run to the swings, I don't know why, but I went to the baby swings every time. Not the ones with the two holes in it. You know the seat they would put babies in for the car. I would always go to that one, but when someone stole it, I couldn't control it, and all I did was scream the word. I shouldn't say it. It's a PG-13 show, and this is where I start to choke up. All right. Anyway. They took me to the office, and I missed almost the entire lunch period. And when it came to lunch, they said it was time to go, and I just cried and went to the hallway.
It sounds like that was a difficult experience for you. I don't have autism myself, but I know that it can be very upsetting when someone messes with my routine. What eventually helped you get through that?
Well, one of the teachers came up and comforted me, very well. I ate lunch with the teacher. And speaking of teachers, there was a tutor that I had during this time, and she was the meanest one I ever had. Well, there was another one, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. This tutor said she hated me only once, and it broke me.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it is terrible. I bawled to tears once again right after she said that she hated me. the stress ended in 2014 when it snowed. I was like, oh, thank God. It would be like, oh, thank God, there's no school today. I don't want to be part of that school. But then Mom told me that I still had to go at 11. That's when I realized that my whole life was a nightmare in that school. And
I'm sorry, can you explain a little more about what you mean?
it was realizing that I didn't have to go if I didn't have to go because of snow. Like, it was a literal nightmare. I can't even explain all the things that happened in that school.
What I mean is specifically about the snow day. What was it that made you realize that school was so awful?
Well, my mom told me that I had to go even though it was snowing, and then I bawled literally. It was almost like a flood in my room when my mom told me that I had to go. I told her everything, and I told my brother, who's a little older than me. He tried telling me not to go homeschool, but I just couldn't handle it, and I homeschooled. That's basically the end of my nightmare.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that school is so difficult for you, but I'm glad that you've gotten yourself into a better situation now. And I have a little bit of personal experience too, because I also was homeschooled for a while because of bullying problems.
Oh yeah, that's yeah. It's sometimes fine when you have nightmares and stuff for schools and stuff. Anyways, I'm good. All right, so I'm gonna get back to the other tutor who's been evil to me. In 2000 something, I can't even remember. I was at an elementary school that was right near my town, and I had a tutor. I mean, this was the time where I learned about Barney, and he was it was scary for me when it comes to life. So every time I see the doll, I would wait with the tutor, and every time I refused something with the tutor, she would slap me and hit me.
A teacher hit you? That's awful.
Yeah, it is awful. Literally that awful. My mom tried 2 times, and the same thing happened. My mom tried to fight the tutor, and she won, and my mom won every time. She told me that the tutor was arrested, I think, from what I remember. And thank goodness, at least we know it's over. And in fall of 2014, I went to a better school, which was near my high school, which I go to now, and it was better than the school I went to. It was relief. That's where I met one of my favorite tutors in the world. He would usually help me with stuff. Angry, but he helps me calm down.
Sorry to interrupt you, Robbie, but I think we lost you there for a second.
Yeah, I teared up a little bit. That's why he lost me. Anyway, I was just wiping a little bit. Alright. Anyway, when I get to sad situations, he would usually comfort me and stuff. Yeah. If you're hearing my voice struggle a little bit, I was crying a little bit.
That's totally fine, Robbie. It's okay to just let it all out.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with crying at all. Yeah. Yeah, there were a few situations, but everything turned out okay in the end. Yeah. I think we're done with this part.
Well, that's fine. If we want to go ahead and go on to the next point, I think it was your favorite childhood cartoons. You want to go ahead and tell us a little bit more about that?
My favorite, it was Blue's Clues. I would always interact with Steve or Joe, and Blue. Every time I see Clue, I would point to it.
But can I ask you a question real quick, Robbie?
Sure, go ahead.
Where do you fit on the whole Joe versus Steve debate? Because I was just old enough to catch Blue's Clues growing up, and Steve was my guy, but I can understand why some people would like Joe.
Well, I was born in June 2002, which was 2 months after Joe left. I meant after Steve left. Steve said he was leaving to join a band, but really, he left because he was losing his hair, and his voice was getting old. I was born 2 months after Steve left, and I was pretty familiar with Joe. I actually liked him, being honest, people.
Yeah, Joe was really nice, but my problem was that he just felt like he was trying too hard. Steve was the original guy, and he didn't seem like he really had to put effort into being that excited about things. Joe is almost like the stepdad who comes in and wants to be really good friends with you, and so he tries too hard to be, nice and friendly.
Yeah, I did like him. He was trying his best, and he succeeded on me liking him. He had a little more, Steve had a little more sense, and Joe had a little more comedy sense. I liked them both. Like, I like Steve and Joe both at the same time.
And so what are you watching these days? What's the more current stuff going on in Robbie's world?
I sometimes watch OKKO, Let's Be Heroes, and get this. I always watch Steven Universe now. Like, I always watch, like, remember the Hell Universe Tour thing?
You
Like,
know,
that you made?
I think I might just be familiar with it. So what's your favorite episode of Steven Universe?
I can't remember what my favorite episode would be, but my favorite episodes would be, like, the ones where Garnet had her, like, classes out, apparently. I don't know why, but it looks cute.
Well, let me tell you something that may be a little surprising coming from the Hell Universe guy, but I actually didn't care for Steven Universe all that much when I started watching it. When I saw it, I was like so confused why everyone was crazy about this show. But of course, I came in the first couple episodes, and the first season had just wrapped up, so we just got the great Garnet fight. And I think anyone who's being honest with themselves knows those first couple episodes are a little rough.
I didn't watch the show much either until we got to, like, Mirror Gem and stuff. That's when I started getting really interested. Like, I'm just like, oh my god, this show is amazing. I have to keep watching. Speaking of 2013 and stuff when it premiered, like, just 1 month after I started my first YouTube channel, which is, I shouldn't say more about that though, because I can't self-promote and stuff.
Oh no, you can totally self-promote here. I don't care. This whole thing's a platform for you guys, so if you want to self-promote, go for it. In fact, go ahead and tell me a little bit about your YouTube channel.
When I started my YouTube channel, I was still a fan of that show called The Amazing World of Gumball. The show was, it just started, like, when I saw the sneak peek of it on Cartoon Network's website, I'm just sitting here like, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, Gumball was one of those shows that I was aware of but never really sat down and watched. It seems like something I might like, but I just haven't committed the time to watching it yet.
But by the time that first YouTube channel got taken down due to copyright, like, I was starting to lose interest in that Gumball show. I'm just like, the jokes are getting really cringy. I have to stop. And that's where I stopped. I tried to watch some episodes, but they just didn't feel the same feel for the, like, first 2 seasons. Like, don't take offense, viewers. If you like Gumball, that's actually fine by me. I'm just not the right age type for the show.
Well, that's understandable. I think we've all tried to watch stuff that was aimed a little too low or high for our age level. But I think it's time to move on to our next point. You wanted to talk about video games, your favorite video games. So tell me, are you a PC guy or a console gamer? What do you like?
I am both a console and PC gamer. I first started getting interested into games when I got my PS2 for Christmas. It's a PlayStation 2, by the way. Like from my grandmother. Like, when I first saw the PS2, I was like, whoa. It was like a gray PS2, if I can remember correctly. The first game I played was Ed and Eddie, the Misadventures. It was really interesting.
So what do you think your number one video game of all time would be?
I hate to go to the number one already, but, like, my number one was SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. It was basically the best PlayStation 2 game I have ever played in my life. It was awesome.
So I'm not gonna lie, that was not the answer I was expecting. Please tell me more. What was so great about this game? What made it your number one?
This game was basically, like, where you can explore Bikini Bottom, like, and find good levels out of it. Like, this is before the crappy SpongeBob came in. It was, like, basically the best game out there for SpongeBob. Like, everyone loved it. I think some people hated it, but that didn't matter. The like ratio was more than that. But I did stop a little bit after I came to the Jellyfish Fields part, because I saw this little bowling activity, and, like, I thought that was the next part that I had to do. I didn't know what to do at all. So I just decided to leave it and decided to just explore the, like, neighborhood instead of, like, well, yeah.
So remind me, because I know I've played a SpongeBob game, but I don't remember if it was this one. Is that the one where you could drive around in the Krabby Patty car and, like, pick up little collectibles and stuff, or was that a different one?
Hold on, that was the SpongeBob movie game. Like, that was the second favorite game I ever played. It was, like, awesome. It was related to the movie in general. It all took place in a storybook kind of thing, instead of, like, where the pirates just get the tickets and just head to the movie theater and watch the movie. Anyways, like, speaking of books, my first PC game was, I can't remember which one it was, but I think it was Kid Pix or Living Books. Let me start with Kid Pix. So Kid Pix is a like it's a program that started in Macintosh in like 1980 something, and then it went to Windows when it got owned by Brotherbund, and then it was turned to the Learning Company. Kid Pix Deluxe 4, I think, was my favorite. It was like one of the best ones, like because it had the catchy theme song on Kid Pix, come on and play with Kid Pix. I don't remember the lyrics to that one. I remember playing it in my technology class in my elementary school. Anyways, and then we're moving now for Living Books. It was like a PC storybook game kind of series that started in 1992 and ended in 1998. You get to choose like if you want to read the story or you can play inside the story while the narrator reads.
Those are all some very interesting picks. A lot of times when you ask people what their favorite game is, you get the same list, but we're having a little problem with the internet, so I'd like to go ahead and move on to our last point. I found this one to be really interesting when you said you wanted to talk about it. You're going to have a job as a Chuck E. Cheese mascot. Tell me a little bit about that. How do you get the job like that? How do you train for it? Any of that stuff?
Well, I'm not in the job just yet. I only have a few more months left until I get it. Like it's already February, and I get it when I get to my 16th birthday.
Oh, okay, I thought you already had the job. You must be really excited, though. That seems like it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I saw a lot of videos, and like I saw one of the users named Matt the Franchise, and he is one of the best Chuck E. Cheese YouTubers out there.
Okay, you're gonna have to tell me more about that, because I did not know there were Chuck E. Cheese YouTubers.
Well, there is. I already have a YouTube channel named CEC Mount Juliet. No promotion there. I will, if it does count, I'm sorry. Anyway,
No, man, like I said, self-promotion is fine here. Just go ahead and tell me how you got started with this job, or finding out about it at least.
I saw like Chucky in like one of the locations, and immediately I was terrified. So terrified that in one of the visits, I almost ran out the door.
You know, I think there's a bunch of people who've played Five Nights at Freddy's who completely understand where you're coming from, man.
Yeah, it was before Five Nights at Freddy's. It was like 2005.
Even still, I think there's a reason that guy made Five Nights at Freddy's. There's a lot of people who are kind of put off by it. Was it the machine or the guy in the suit?
It was like the mascot one and not the robot, like some people were scared.
My mom tells me that when I was little, she took me to a Chuck E. Cheese, and she had a similar problem with me because I see this big rodent coming at me, and I'm just like freaking out as a kid. And I'm just, this big half rat man comes at you, arms outstretched for a terrifying hug. Hug me, Damien. Hug me.
I just visualized what you just said, like arms out, coming up for a terrifying hug. No, Chucky, no. I don't want a hug from you. Yeah. Okay, that's enough. Oh my god, my heart beat a little bit. So like soon enough in like 2009 in July, I started going there again without the mascot coming out because my mom told the manager, which I became friends with immediately. Like, and then like February 2013, I can't remember what date it was. Like, wanted to see Chucky again, and my mom told one of the employees, and I followed the employee and made sure the door was closed. You know what I mean? You don't want any kids seeing Chucky getting dressed up. I went to the room and I saw the employee wake up Chucky, like as I say, quotes, and like when he dressed up, my heart was beating a little bit. I felt the hand, and I'm just like, it's okay, just breathe, you'll be fine. And I wasn't afraid anymore. I wasn't afraid, like, to give it a second try too, and that worked too. And that's where I started getting my dream job.
So what do you have to actually do to be a mascot character? Is there like a video you watch? Is there training?
You have to be employee, and like there are like 3 rules in order to like be a successful like actor. So let me explain the rules for all of you who don't know. Rule number 1 is to not sign autographs because everyone has a different autograph, and that's okay. Like everyone's different. And rule 2 is to not pick up babies because, well, what if you accidentally drop one? That wouldn't be good. And rule 3, like always, do not talk.
I guess that makes sense because everyone's voice would be a little bit different, and then that would kind of ruin the illusion if it doesn't sound like the animatronic.
Yeah, like that's basically the point. You can't talk, otherwise the magic is ruined.
Yeah, and like you said, like kids may want an autograph, but if they start comparing autographs and then there's different mascots and the handwriting's different, I mean, I don't know if kids would notice that kind of thing, but that's the kind of discrepancy that breaks magic.
Right. Like they want the autograph to be same, and they want the voices they want the voice to be same as well. I mean, Chucky is now voiced by Jeanette Redrick, if I'm naming correctly. I'm sorry if I didn't name correctly. Like he used to be like voiced by Duncan Brennan, who was the singing voice for Barney for a little while. I didn't know that until like a few years ago.
All right, well, thank you, Robbie. I think that's about all the time we have for today because the internet's acting like it might want to give out here soon. Thank you for being our first guest. It takes a lot of courage to be the first one on.
You're welcome. I'm just gonna walk out the door right now. Oh, I missed a knob. There we are. Yeah. Right.
All right, thank you, Robbie. And to all you guys listening out there, this is Speak of the Devil. If you'd like to be a part of the show, get on our Discord, shoot me a PM. We can talk about what you want to talk about because this is a show by the community for the community. So signing off, this is Damien DeVille saying, can't wait to hear from you.